All right, hi everyone. I'm here to talk to you tonight about a concept I'm calling choose your own adventure education. And just in case that gets boring, I've also put a lot of memes in here so you can watch for those. So I've been in grad school for about 2 years now, and a lot of the things that we've been reading seem to suggest that school is broken, right? That students are spending almost all of their time outside of school doing meaningful activities, and a lot of times it seems like they're maybe just putting in their time in school, in classrooms, right? And theorists have been looking at these new literacies that are emerging and investigating fan fiction sites, video games, and other affinity spaces on and offline as places where students are experiencing deep learning of a kind that we just don't see happening in school these days. So my first question was kind of, well, what are the main features of these affinity spaces? And they seem to be that students are able to choose when and where they engage in these activities, that they group around shared interests, and that there are multiple pathways to participation in these spaces. So the first big question of the night that we're going to think about is, how do we emulate these features in school? And in thinking about this and discussing this with other people, the idea of choose your own adventure books came up. And it got me thinking that in life, we don't really all take the same path to get to an end goal, right? So why are we forced to do that in education? And what would it look like if classes could be more like choose your own adventure education? These books are really revolutionary when they came out because they disrupted the idea that a story had to be linear with one ending, instead suggesting that if it wasn't going the way you wanted, you could change it, you could alter it, right? So my idea is to do this with education by changing the document that guides it, which tends to be the syllabus. And I know this picture is a little bit extreme, but it's true that many instructors rely on a syllabus to kind of generate the course, right? So the idea is instead of having these assignments that build on each other in a sequence, everybody going through them at the same time, we would focus our course around concepts, major concepts that we wanted students to understand, and they would be responsible for finding the relationships and the connections between these concepts. And the way that I hope to do this is to follow the choose your own adventure model and create a map. So instead of a syllabus having this linear structure, it would be map-like in the sense that students could go through different parts of it at different times, right? And hopefully this would then allow students to bring different understandings to a class, to contribute different knowledge. And this would help to honor the knowledge and networks that students often bring to our classes that tend to be invisible or hidden to the instructor. And hopefully this would also allow different participation structures, right? We'd have small groups working around similar concepts, but they would also have distributed knowledge that they would be able to contribute to larger class discussions. And my hope is that this kind of learning would end up being more like a video game, where the learning happens just in time and is applicable to the scenario that you're working on right at that moment, instead of it being kind of a general learning. So the second question of the night is, how do we get a course like this to happen, right? In my mind, this involves a lot of computer programming, and I'm actually not very good at computer programming. So I'm hoping that we can get some other people to help us. But there is good news. Researchers have already started looking into this kind of thing for distance education or online learning. So these prototypes of kind of a course structured around a map or a graph exist. And I think this is something we can build on. I want to end this talk with a call to action. For all of you who are interested in education, and especially any of you with any computer programming talents that want to help me out, I want us to admit that school as we know it is broken. That students would much rather spend time with video games than writing the same essay over and over and over, right? But after this admission, I think that we can come together and try something new. So that's the end of my talk. Thank you very much. And I hope that you will continue the conversation.